of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says.
And welcome to America's favorite game. Is that gunfire or fireworks? I'm your host, Sean.
Yeah.
And here playing for fantastic cash and prizes is Ian.
Yeah. Here's the victim, Ian.
Yeah. Can your dog identify?
Yeah.
Hold on. No, the microphone. No, that's right. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, you never know.
No, you don't. You can't. Not anymore.
It's
that time of year, folks.
For some reason, I've always had a dog that's scared to death of fireworks.
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare.
Oh, I mean...
It is. Every year we do the same thing. Benadryl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Rogue's metabolism's so high.
Yeah, she blows through that.
Yeah. So it's like, this time of year is very painful. And I don't like loud noises either. I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like being startled.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's just me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't mind fireworks displays.
Right, because you know it's coming.
Yeah, I'm watching it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But the random M80.
Yeah. You just sit on your...
Dynamite.
You just sit on your front porch at 3 in the afternoon, and all of a sudden there's just this gigantic boom within a 300-yard radius of you.
That's the thing that kills me. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
You buy all these expensive fireworks. Because these aerials are expensive that they're buying.
Oh, yeah. This shit ain't cheap.
No. I mean, the big ones.
Yeah.
Right. And they're firing them off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You paid all that money for an aerial.
Yeah.
And
you're not getting the show.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're just getting a lot. So it's annoying. All right, that's my rant.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I'm dealing with it too, and I'm just like, oh, I'm over it already. And like the thing is, like, even when I was a kid, like having them on the 4th of July made sense to me. You know what I mean? Like I was celebrating, American independence. Mm-hmm. That made sense. We're firing off fireworks. New Year's Eve kind of made sense to me. You're supposed to ring in the new year with a big bang, loud noises. That made sense to me. Like, these guys who are setting them off on, like, June 29th for, like, no fucking reason.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Like, is this like a test shot? I just want to make sure this works.
Yeah. I don't know. I find it very... And maybe I sound like an old man, but I just find it dangerous in a tight neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That all the homes are made of wood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Anyway, all right. So you will hear booms in the background.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's that time of year. We're going to hear... I'm sure something will explode, very nearby.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, I don't know. What you been up to?
Nothing. Just working.
Yeah.
Yeah, just working. Nothing much. What was I watching the other night? What is that called? The one with the whammy.
Press Your Luck?
Yes.
You were watching Press Your Luck?
That's all it was on.
Wow. That's rough.
There wasn't anything on. In the hotel I was watching.
Yeah.
That was my evening in the hotel.
At that point, I would just turn off the TV and, like, find something to read on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there wasn't.
There's got to be something on my phone that's going to be, like, let me read about the January 6th trial.
My grandma used to watch it, so I watched it. It was alright.
Like, I remember watching it as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was amazing as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, this is the greatest game show ever, But, like, as an adult, like, clearly Match Game was more my cup of tea.
Right. So yeah, I watched that, and I finished Stranger Things, which you did not.
I did not. No. That good?
No, yeah. Sad,
Yeah.
but good.
Yeah.
And watched that. Oh, I watched this Red 11.
Okay.
It came up on I don't know what I was watching. I think Prime.
Yeah.
And came up as a movie on Prime and had Robert Rodriguez on. And
Okay.
I was like, I never saw this.
Yeah.
And I like Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, well, as do I. I'm a big Robert Rodriguez fan. Well, is he like a producer on this?
No, he directed it. And so the
He
funny
directed
thing,
it?
well,
And I haven't heard of it?
correct.
Okay.
And yes, and that's what I said. And his sons helped him do it.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it got a 2.6 on Letterboard, 67% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
which is not bad,
No.
and a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Right? This movie cost $7,000 to make.
Okay.
There's also a documentary. I didn't watch it. I'll have to find it. Behind-the-scenes footage on how he filmed it.
Right.
And I think he was just trying to let people know that they can make a movie on a low budget.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And like
Like
kind
the
of teach
Kevin-
them how to do it.
The Kevin Smith way of making a movie is still available to you.
Yes.
And I know. I know it's tough because, like, I think he built his own studio in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Or Austin. I think he's out of Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever it is, he's out of. But I know, like, he built his own studio. Like, that's where he filmed.
Not mariachi.
No, not Mariachi, but the.
From
I
Dust
want,
Till Dawn?
I want to say Dark City, but I know that's
Uh-huh.
the one with Frank Miller. I can't believe I can't think of the name of it. Something City.
Not Sin City.
Sin City, yeah. He filmed Sin City there, and like the Spy Kids movies and
Yeah.
Shark Boy Lava Girl, like all that type of stuff. That he filmed that there. I think he filmed the Predator movie there too.
Yeah.
So like he's done, like he has his a nice like studio system with green screens and all this stuff, and like he does it all himself.
Yeah.
So, but I think it'd still be interesting to see like how he would. I think even that. I mean, he still has to add cost and like, well, this is what it would cost to rent this.
Right.
I'm renting it
And,
from
like,
my company or whatever.
With him, I mean, it was just, I'm going to prove that you can do this. My sons are going to help me.
Yeah.
He wrote it, directed, edited it,
Yeah.
all that crap with the
Yeah.
help of his family. And I was pretty impressed with it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit above a B movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes, and it's supposedly based on, like, when he went into, the movie is about a kid that owes $7,000
Yeah.
to some mob people.
Right.
And he goes into this research facility, and they were going to pay him big time. But they said they were going to hurt, they were going to cut him in all experimental trials and stuff like this. And it's loosely based, I mean, like, it's not a true story at all.
Right.
But Rodriguez went into one of those facilities to get the money together to make El Mariachi.
Right. Yeah. Like he like donated plasma and platelets and all that shit. Like he was doing all that stuff
Yeah.
to work up the money for El Mariachi.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this movie is loosely based on
Right.
that premise.
But it takes a horror twist. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
of course.
sci-fi twist.
Yeah.
So, and he definitely had his color,
Yeah.
how he shoots and stuff like that. But it was
Yeah.
like one camera.
Yeah.
I was just impressed by the fact that he did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then put out a documentary.
Explaining how he did it.
Correct. So
Yeah.
for filmmakers that
Right.
want to make movies with a low budget.
That's what's awesome about it. Is like he did, like it's one thing just to do it, but it's another thing like I'm also going to document it so that I can show you how I did it, so that you can do it too.
Yeah, he probably paid the people doing the documentary more than the
yeah.
fucking film itself.
The documentary costs more money than the fucking movie.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
he had to pay those people.
Right.
But yeah, it was. I liked it. Both his sons were in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. I mean, they didn't star in it. They were sub roles.
Right.
But I just found it fascinating. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I like the premise. I like the whole story concept behind the story.
Right.
The story is really good.
Right. Like, do you wish he had taken the story and did it with like a $5 million budget instead?
Yeah.
Like the $7,000. Like, oh, this is perfect for, like.
Yeah.
I mean, because he did that. Like, he took El Mariachi, and then he remade it as the second movie with Banderas.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
God, my memory's shit today.
Yeah. No, I'm glad he didn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm like perfectly fine that he didn't do it because
Yeah.
this movie wasn't meant to be a $10 million, $15,
Right.
$20 million movie.
Right.
Just wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be. If you watch it, you'll see
Yeah.
why it's not needed.
Right.
And the story is actually really good.
Yeah.
It is. It makes sense. Like, I understand this.
Yeah.
And it twists, So, yeah, I liked it. So I did watch that. I just watched that today. Along with Stranger Things. I watched it last night, and then we woke up this morning and watched the rest of it.
Nice.
Yeah, because it was just... It was...
Yeah.
Stranger Things was brutal.
Yeah.
For me. But, so we did that, and I don't think I watched anything else except Strange New Worlds. That was it.
Yeah. I got caught up on Strange New Worlds. I watched last week's episode, and then I watched this week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
I liked last week's episode. I thought it was going to be like, and it was. In a way, it was. It's like those typical, like, next-gen shenanigans where, like, here's this entity,
Yeah.
this all-knowing entity, and that, this is what it's doing, and like, but they did it really well. And I think what was important was like the wrapping up of the story for Dr. Mbaga, sorry, and kind of like wrapping up that story with him and his daughter, which surprised me. It does, like, yeah, we're wrapping this shit up now.
Yeah.
We're not playing around. And but also the carryover to the next episode, where like it wouldn't have had that carryover like in those other series, like the original series or the Next Generation. Like, his emotions about his daughter are still very raw,
Right.
and like he has that moment where he's like, please step away from my daughter, not my patient.
Yeah.
Like he catches himself,
Yeah.
because he sees his daughter and this little girl, and I thought that was like a nice touch. But man, this week's episode was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Episodes are good, man.
Yeah.
This show's a good show. What pisses me off about it, though, is not the show, but I'll pull up Paramount,
Yeah.
and I can't ever find it.
That is weird.
Like, I'll pull it up on my TV, and they'll have Picard, they'll have Star Trek 4, 3, 7, 1 million and a half. You know what I mean? I'll go through all the titles, and I cannot find it. So I have to go back out and do a search for it
Right.
to get it. And
That's
I'm
weird.
like, you're flagship in this show, and it's not even on your main screen.
That's weird, because for me it is on my main page.
Yeah.
Like when I turn on Paramount Plus, like it's either in the slide at the top, or like it'll like be like continue watching.
Yeah.
And it'll make the next episode of Strange New Worlds is ready for you.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's like weird. That's weird how that works for you.
Yeah. It does not come up. I have to actually go and try to find it, then I have to back out, go home on Prime, and then search it. And then it says, oh, you want to watch it on Paramount. Yes.
Yeah.
I was already in Paramount, and I couldn't find it on Paramount.
Yeah.
It has every Star Trek thing known to man except Strange New Worlds.
That's weird. That's very weird, because it's like I said, for me, it's like right there.
Every single time I go to watch it, it dumbfounds me.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
I've become lazy. I don't want to search anything.
Yeah, I know. I don't want.
I want to press a button and it be there.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, so that happened, and but I like the show. It's a great show.
Yeah.
I tell you what though, and I'm not going to say anything about it. I know I keep going back to it, but Stranger Things knocked it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just such a well done show.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean,
stumbled a little season 2, but season 3 was fantastic, and season 4 has been, at least so far for me, just been just as fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, it was, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. And the music's done so well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, just watch it, please.
Yeah, I will.
Because I have to talk about it. It's like therapy. It's going to be therapy.
Yeah, I'm going to try to watch it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like I have to have a therapist for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that up and down.
Yeah. Because I got that. I still haven't watched Umbrella Academy. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like driving me nuts that I haven't watched it. Because it looks so fucking good this season. Like, even like some of the extended clips I've seen online, I'm like, oh man, I gotta say, like, you know, the Footloose dance sequence. Like, I just saw a bit of it. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this.
Oh, yeah, I know. There's so many good scenes in this show. I think I'm on episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But I had to, like, readjust myself when I started watching it, though. I'm like, what happened again? Like, where are we?
Yeah.
Why are these... They're not... You know.
Yeah. So I've got that still. I'm 2 episodes behind on The Boys, which, like, bums me out, and I'm trying to get caught up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like... And you started watching For All Mankind.
Oh. Three or 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
I am. Not second. 2, 3. And then it cut out.
Yeah.
Man, is that a good show, dude?
Like, you texted me Saturday night, like...
Yeah.
I guess you had problems logging in... Because I fixed it for you. I got you logged in with mine. But, like, you were like, hey, man, can I have that Apple TV?
Well, it's science fiction. I love space movies, period.
Right.
I love space race type stuff. Not just space race, but just space, period.
Yeah.
Especially the fundamentals, foundations, the right stuff.
Yeah.
Armageddon. I mean, you name it. Anything that has to do with space and going up, I find fascinating.
Right.
So this sounded like way up my alley.
Right. And it's a period piece, and it's like a great what if.
Yeah.
You know.
It is.
And like the way the first episode opens up with like, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen this. No, I haven't.
I have not seen this before.
What the hell?
It's just done really well.
Yeah.
The sound clips and the voiceovers and whatever they've done to capture, you know, Nixon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've really done very well.
Yeah.
References to Neil Armstrong and stuff like that.
Right.
And those guys and the Apollo, all the Apollos. And
Yeah.
all that stuff is like really good. And then the sub story is pretty good with the female character too that I'm liking.
Yeah.
That getting into the guy's room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I find that very interesting. And, you know, cosmonaut on space.
Yeah.
Female cosmonaut. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff is just, it's really good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know what season you're on, but I'm only on the first.
I'm in season... I thought all the first 3 seasons were done. I was wrong. They're in the middle of the 3rd season right now, so I'm all caught up.
Oh, you are?
So, like, they release new episodes on Friday. So
what year are we in now?
1996, I think.
Oh, and do the characters follow through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There are characters that follow through, and like a new generation is coming up.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure those characters keep going for as long as they, can.
Yeah. There are some of the characters do, some don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's it's a really well done show. Like, I like the second season a lot, and I'm enjoying the shit out of the third season.
Mm.
And like, it raises, like, it's interesting because like it raises questions, especially like here in the especially now in the third season, where they're raising questions that like are more. It's almost like they've taken the 90s and put it in the 2020s.
Okay.
But they're doing that because the space race has continued on. Technology's evolved faster. Okay, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, it's like this deal of like, okay, so like maybe something that didn't come along until like the 2000s, it probably would have been discovered in the late 80s or early 90s.
Right.
And it become a thing at that point because of the push of technology through space exploration.
Right. And it's kind of neat now because we're hitting on a space thing now currently.
Right.
So it kind of falls in line a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Not falls in line, but just kind of bringing that magic back.
Yeah.
Because I'll be damned if I didn't sit there and watch SpaceX stuff happening.
Oh yeah.
I just found it fascinating.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, like in like it but like and I hate to like spoil it, but like season 3 gets into like the commercialization of space.
Oh sure, I'm sure it does.
You know, because again of the way technology is advanced.
Yeah.
So like, it's a very interesting show. If you have Apple Plus or Apple TV, whatever it's called now, you should be watching a show.
I can't even believe we don't have a space station on the moon. To tell you the truth.
Well, yeah.
I mean, right now.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we don't. I just, I don't know. It's almost like they're waiting for something. I don't know what it is. Not that I don't know. I just feel like, I just feel like we should be exploring.
No, you're right.
You know?
You're absolutely right. And I mean, but it's that thing of like, and it's funny because, like, again, this is a question the show answers, but like, from a how do you justify that from a governmental standpoint?
Yeah.
Like, especially like right now, like with everything that's going on, with the way inflation is, with the way the cost of everything is, with the supply chain issues, with everything that's going on, how could you justify taking $5 billion and putting it into a Mars program?
Right.
From a governmental standpoint, you can't.
Private.
Exactly. That's what today is.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to see how they answer that question on this show. You're going to think, well, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's stuff like that it's like... It's a very good show. I can't recommend it enough. If you are a science fiction fan, if you are a NASA fan, if you're a fan of like the space in modern times, like not so much like Star Trek and stuff like that, but like what space is now and what it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the show for you.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much my week watching stuff, you know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I watched. I did watch on a wrestling that there was a pay-per-view on Sunday. It was an interesting one because it was AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. They did a combined show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like as somebody who's like come back into wrestling, like, you know, in the past 3-4 years, like I was never like somebody who like watched the Japanese stuff. And I'm still not, only because it's like, well, how much money do you want to spend on this? Number one. And number two, like their pay-per-views are on at like, 2 a.m.
Sure.
Is when they start. Like, who wants to wake up at that ungodly hour to watch a pay-per-view? I'm going to bed at 2, not waking up at 2. So I try to keep track of it like on online, and like some of the wrestlers I knew, and some guys I'm like, I have no clue who this is. But so it was interesting to see like those wrestlers come over and perform in front of an American crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the type of crowd, this isn't a WWE crowd where they have no fucking clue. This is a pro wrestling crowd that like they watch as much as they can of like everything else but WWE.
Okay.
So like they knew who a lot of these Japanese wrestlers were like even guys who like Will Ospreay, who's from England but performs in New Japan, or Switchblade Jay White, who's from Australia but performs in New Japan. Like they knew who they were, and some of them have like a reputation. Like Will Ospreay has a reputation as one of the best ever.
Yeah.
And he had a match with a guy named Orange Cassidy from AEW. They had one of the best matches I have ever seen. It rivals Flair Steamboat '89.
Oh, really?
Like it was like I'm watching this match and I'm like, this is what pro wrestling should be.
Yeah.
It was that fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked at like Orange Cassidy's a guy like if you know like he can go like but his whole shtick is like he's like lazy.
Mm.
He comes to the ring, he puts his hands in his pockets, he's got his sunglasses on, you know, he kicks you, it's like a little
Yeah.
you know, like it's, and then like all of a sudden he'll turn on a switch and he'll go. Mm-hmm. And he'll hit a couple of big moves, and you know you're like, oh wow, guy can go. This was like there was a little bit of like the character, but the rest of it was like these guys went for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, this is really good stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, I was very impressed with it. It's if anything, I would encourage you to look up Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay. Mm-hmm. Just that match alone was just fantastic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How were the rest? Was the rest of it pretty good?
Yeah, the rest was really good. Like there was some really good matches. Like there was one match. Again, if you know anything about pro wrestling, especially from Japan, like you know who the Bullet Club is. Mm. So it was like the Young Bucks reformed with the Bullet Club for one night only against Sting, Darby Allin, and for a Japanese man I didn't know. Mm. That was really a really good match. The first match of the night with Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki, who, again, he's like a legendary guy. Been around for like 25, 30 years. Uh-huh. Like, I remember reading about him in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
You know. So that was a really good match that they had. There were a number of good matches. It was worth the price that I paid for the pay-per-view. Like I wasn't disappointed in it, but it was like a different style of pay-per-view than like because they didn't have much time to build up to it. They only had 1 month to build, really, and see, it was kind of like cobbled together a lot of it. But if you just like say like, okay, this is just a interpromotional pay-per-view, just enjoy it for what it is. The matches were fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, it was entertaining pro wrestling.
Right. That's what you want.
Yeah. And it's the thing that like drives me nuts. Like I watch a WWE premium live event, and you know, first off, you don't know what half the cards are on the match.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, by the way, we're gonna throw this together for you, like, and then it's like. You get 8 matches, and like in between each match is like 10 minutes of like filler and bullshit. Where this was like bang, bang, bang. It was a 5-hour. Like if you include the buy-in, it was 5 hours. Mm-hmm. But you got 13 matches in those 5 hours, and they were all bangers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So
more back to what it should be, I guess. I noticed that on WWF too, or WWE, that it's like there's a lot of filler and bullshit, and I'm like, I mean, same old thing. Guy comes out in the middle of the ring, talks for 10 minutes,
right?
Gets into a little scuffle. 5 guys come down.
Yeah,
they beat ass for 3 minutes, and then it breaks up.
Well, what's even worse is like,
do you know what I mean? Like
right.
It gets old.
Like they had this one match, and it was a 6-woman tag match. So they introduce the first woman, and she takes her and then, at this point they have 20 minutes before the end of the show. First woman comes down, they go to commercial.
Yeah.
So they're commercial for 3 minutes. So that woman's in the ring by herself for 3 minutes. They come back, they introduce the rest of the women, and go to another commercial. And then by the time they come back, they're ready to go. And by the time they're ready to go, you went from having 20 minutes available for this match to 7.
Yeah.
That's how long it took to do all their introductions, for all the bullshit,
Yeah.
and for 2 commercials.
Yeah.
And now you're on the 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like Raw is a 3-hour program, and I'm getting 45 minutes of actual wrestling in a 3-hour program, as compared to AEW Dynamite, which is a 2-hour program, and I'm getting like an hour and 20 minutes of wrestling.
Right.
You know, you're giving me almost double the amount in almost half the time.
Right.
You know, like how does the fuck does that work out?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, but like I said, for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, like I wouldn't recommend it to everybody because, like, especially if you're not a fan of if you're a WWE fan and you're like, oh fuck AEW, I get that, but watch Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay. That match by itself, if it doesn't blow you away, then you are just a WWE drone that just likes that style.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But you're missing out on some amazing athletes and some amazing professional wrestling. Like if you enjoy that type of, if you're like me, a little bit more open-minded, enjoy a more freestyle.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So.
Cool.
Yeah. So. Last week we talked about Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about, how amazing that was and everything. Apparently, at one point, the director of Top Gun Maverick was attached to do a Black Hole remake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
With Cruise.
Well, they didn't say anything about Tom Cruise. But they were talking about Joseph Kosinski.
Oh.
He was talking about like how he got attached to do a remake of the Black Hole.
Okay.
And it was something he was very. This was pre-Disney buying Star Wars, I believe.
Okay.
And but he said the ideas that he ended up getting stopped because the ideas he had were too close to that of Interstellar. Like Interstellar came out and what they dealt with black holes and everything else was too close to what they were writing, and Disney stopped the project.
Okay.
And that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like, there was no way for us to know just how similar Kosinski's take on the black hole was to Interstellar. There was already a noticeable similarity just in the basic plot element. The black hole deals with, you guessed it, black holes, and Interstellar deals with wormholes. Wormholes connect 2 points in time and space, while black holes end in a singularity from which nothing can escape, but the exploration plot of the two just seemed a bit too close for Disney's comfort. I still feel like the movie is one of the most unique that Disney's ever made. The original, it's wild. The idea of a journey to a black hole is one of the things that is very intriguing because it's not science fiction. So I wonder, was it just the fact that Interstellar was we're dealing with wormholes and, that's too close. Companies have made asteroid movies back to back. They've made, all sorts of disaster movies that have come out in the same year. Volcano movies, tornado movies.
And meteor movies. Deep Impact and whatever.
And Armageddon. So, I mean, like the race of like, hey, we each have this idea for a specific type of disaster movie. Like, so that shouldn't bother you. So like, was it like how was it the similarity in the story of how you were using the black hole? Like, so like were they like not like being true to the original movie at all, like the basic storyline of the movie, and like doing something completely different but calling it the black hole?
Yeah, yeah.
Or was it like, Interstellar's kind of ruined this for us. We're gonna shit can this.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Yeah,
They should have just made it. It's Disney, for fuck's sake.
like, but I'd like to see like a reimagining of that original story.
Yeah,
Is the key.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like that's the real, like, I like that story enough. Like, fix the ending. I mean, I don't need to see that ending again. But I like to see like that story kind of retold and reimagined. But the basic plot elements remain the same.
yeah,
Here's this derelict ship, this lost ship from many years ago, and the captain, went insane or whatever. Like, the basic elements of what that story was make sense and are a very good story.
yeah, yeah.
Like, the ending is where you're like, oh man, you fucking lost me. Like, are we in hell?
Well, it was the other side of the black hole, right? I mean, like, you don't know what that was. I mean,
for both ships though, because like, I mean, don't forget, like, the good guys, like, they went into the black hole as well. They couldn't escape.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, they had that moment where like you saw like what looked like a fucking angel, and, like the doors of heaven maybe, and they go through, and that's like the end of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, so did they go to heaven and he went to hell?
Yeah.
Did this become like a biblical parable all of a sudden? Like, I don't, like, the ending is so fucking batshit crazy. I love it, and I hate it at the same time.
Yeah, because there's no really closure there.
Right. Whereas, like, I'd like to see them, like, take, like, what the basic original story was, rework it a tad, update it a little bit. But at the end of the movie, you get a better ending than,
Yeah, than that.
man and machine being merged into one as the minions of hell, and the burning
Isn't
wreckage.
that weird?
Oh, that's...
No, but, like, throughout the whole movie was actually... The movie was very suspenseful.
Yeah.
It flowed really well.
Yeah.
The acting was good, of course.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what was next. And for the time period, the graphics were pretty good. The whole greenhouse thing and all that crap, and the science fiction that had to deal with that.
Yeah.
And the whole dole and stuff like that. Badass, right?
Yeah.
Made sense. And the maniac taking over and turned them all to droids, and the fucking people doing the computers. It was just kind of a weird Twilight Zone type of thing.
And seeing the funeral.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
And so you go through this whole thing, and Bob saves the day, and all this crap. And it's like, fuck, this is a great movie. And all of a sudden, it just gets, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what were they trying to do? Like,
there's even the terrifying moment of, like, of Maximilian turning on the blades and ripping through the book.
To get to Perkins.
To get to Anthony Perkins. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
That really happened. Like, as a 10-year-old,
and
I was like...
almost like a psycho shot.
Yeah.
It was almost like a Hitchcock shot on that whole scene.
It's brilliantly done.
Yeah.
Like, without showing any blood, that is brilliantly done.
Yeah.
But... Like, there's all this amazing stuff that takes place, and you get to the end of that fucking movie, and you're like, what the fuck? Holy shit.
Like, where did we go?
Yeah.
Like, we went way off the rails.
Yeah.
Now, I'm okay with the I'm okay with the artistic ending, and I'm okay with... But you gotta give me some kind of ending. Like, this was like... I don't know.
Yeah, it was
crazy town.
It was fucking batshit crazy.
It didn't hold anything. Like, it didn't even hold up to the movie itself. It was like its own separate film.
Completely. It was like some sort of like college student art film.
Yeah.
Or like they had like a really great budget.
And a lot of drugs.
And a lot of drugs. Because I was like, holy shit. Like, even as a kid, I'm watching that going, what the fuck is going on?
Kids are crying.
Yeah. I'm like, and Pat Coon's like looking at me like, are you okay? I'm like, no. I don't know what I just saw. Can you explain this to me? He's like, no, not really. So I was like, holy hell. So like, yeah, I'd like to see this redone. I'd like to see the story like rebooted a little bit, but I want a real ending to it. You know?
But can they? Can you reboot the black hole? I mean, like, I don't know.
I think you can.
I mean, for the time period, it was really good. But you throw in too much technology into it, it kind of scars it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. That you got to remember that time period though. When
right.
We had the black hole, Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yeah.
Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
In within a 5-year range there, I think. I'm betting in that pool. Battlestar Galactica was on TV.
Yeah.
So that was science fiction in that time period. How do you bring it up to modern day without ruining it? I don't know. That's like, I don't know how you do it tastefully. I don't know.
You do it.
You understand what I mean?
I think the story is the key.
Yeah, but you don't want to take the same story and plug it into something else.
You don't want to take the same story, but I want at least the plot elements to be there.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, here's the derelict lost ship sitting on the edge of a black hole. This is, mankind is now out exploring space and this ship is found.
Yeah.
The insane captain who's obsessed with the hole. There's a lot of. I'm sure Thad just took that a whole.
Who was the captain? Was he the guy that? He wasn't the guy that did Fiddler on the Roof, was he?
I don't think so. Let me look that up.
Anyway, yeah, I just don't know if you can successfully remake it. And with the amount of space stuff that's out now with Disney, I just don't see him doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that was Maximilian Schnell.
Uh-huh. What else was he in?
He was in Deep Impact.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let me go back in his career.
Yeah, early maybe. Earlier.
The Thornbirds, The Missing Years. He was in a 1980 version of The Diary of Anne Frank.
Oh, fun times.
Yeah.
Nothing.
He was in the infamous 1968 version of Heidi.
Maybe that's right.
Because that was the the Jets and the Raiders. It's called the Heidi game.
Uh-huh.
And it was like a nationally televised game, and NBC cut away from the game before it ended to show Heidi.
Wow.
And people went ape shit. I don't see anything about Fiddler on the Roof.
No. Probably not.
Yeah, doesn't look that way.
All right, that's fine.
So yeah.
I guess I'm going back to the Fantastic Four press. They tried doing this shit so many times, and they got it wrong so many times on so many different levels.
Right.
On so many different directors, and different producers, and different actors. And like, I guess I worry. I mean, I think Fantastic Four set the precedent almost on bad, not the precedent, but in modern day,
Yeah.
bad reboots. We've tried to reboot it so many times, and it's just so bad. I just want the story to be there. But, you know, Disney doesn't put out a whole lot of stinkers.
I think you're right from the standpoint of I don't think Disney's going to do it because I don't think Disney's at a point now where they're willing to take a gamble on something that's doesn't have Star Wars or Marvel attached to it.
Right, I know.
Like I think like the day like when they did like the Witch Mountain movie with Dwayne Johnson, they and then they did Tron. I mean, this was all
pre-Star Wars.
Pre-Star Wars stuff. And I think they were trying to launch that science fiction wing. And then, once they acquired Star Wars, they just said, well, we don't need that shit anymore.
Right. Right.
So I that's the problem is, like, they're not willing to roll the dice on something like that. Like, even like, with their acquisition of 20th Century Fox, like, there's a movement to like get another Alita movie made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like it did well enough at the box office that like 20th Century Fox was contemplating it.
Yeah,
and then they got sold to Disney, and now it's in Disney like, we're thinking about it, which I'm taking as a no, we're not going to do that.
All right.
What? Get the fuck out of here.
That was a good movie.
It was a very good movie. It deserves a sequel.
Mm.
It was really well done. I like it. I know right now our good friend Stork is rolling his eyes, but it's a really fucking good movie.
Right.
But I don't think Disney's willing to take a chance on something like that now, because for whatever reason, and this is where I will give Stork his due, science fiction movies outside of Star Wars and Star Trek don't do well.
Yeah.
They really don't. Hell, the Buzz Lightyear movie tanked.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Got outperformed by Top Gun and Elvis.
Wow. Top Gun.
I know, but I mean, like, it was like week 4 or week 3 of like Top Gun being out when they released the Buzz Lightyear movie.
Yeah.
And it couldn't overtake Top Gun. And they were like, it came in 4th this opening weekend.
Yeah. Top Gun was huge though.
It was huge.
I mean, it's still going strong.
And I mean, like, and Elvis just came out last week, and Elvis at least tied Top Gun.
Are the reviews good on Elvis?
Yeah, Elvis, I heard it's very good. I expect that less from Baz Luhrmann.
Well, he did make Australia.
He did make Australia. But everybody's allowed one clunker.
They came out after Mulan, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can... You just can't live up to that movie. No matter what you put out, it was going to fail. Probably a lot of people went to go see Australia.
Yeah.
Thinking... You know what I mean? Like,
when I have to look this up, right? Because, I mean... Let me look him up. Baz Luhrmann. Because there's like a gap.
He made The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
Which I liked, actually.
I like that too. I like that a lot. Okay. So, because this is like the weird thing, I guess. Like, it's like, okay, so he makes Strictly Ballroom in 1992.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And that did well.
And it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
Like, even I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching a fucking ballroom dancing movie, but he does it well. And then he does the Romeo and Juliet movie in 96 with DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Oh.
And that is a really fucking good movie.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah.
And John Leguizamo in it, too.
Yeah, John Leguizamo was in that as well. And then 2001 is Moulin Rouge. And then he makes Australia in 2008.
That's crazy, right?
Like, he takes these, like, long... I don't know if it... Like, you know, from 2008, there's a bunch of, like, shorts that he does. But then from 2008 and 2013 is when he does The Great Gatsby.
Mm-hmm. Good movie.
Yeah. So, like, it's, like, very weird, like, these long gaps that he takes between movies.
What's coming up after Elvis? Does it say anything?
Upcoming projects. The Master and the Margarita. No idea.
All right. I think artistically the guy's a genius.
I think he sees things in the lens that nobody else sees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, you know, Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson sees music.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he sees and he gets frustrated. I've seen documentaries of him, like, working with other musicians, and he's like, can't you fucking get this?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I can't. I don't see it the way you do.
Yeah.
You know, but he sees music.
Yeah.
You know, and he's trying to interpret that as a sound.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get you to do what he wants you to do, to play it the way he's seeing it and hearing it in his head.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. And I think Baz Luhrmann he can do that
through the lens.
Through the lens in a way, like, I think, like, if you look at, like, in particular, like Moulin Rouge and Gatsby, like the way those movies look, and I mean, people are like, oh, the modern soundtrack bullshit. Get past it. I'm sorry, just get past it. You know, because
look how it's filmed.
Because he makes it work in a way that you forgive it.
Yeah, I still say to this day that for the modern soundtrack, the Roxanne scene is probably one of the best things ever created on film.
Tango de Roxanne is amazing. Like,
it's
that
not
song
just
and working it into a tango like that.
It's just not good. It's genius.
Yeah. And then the way he shoots it with the shadows and the way Ewan McGregor's walking.
And then he chimes in, where does my heart... I mean, like...
Oh, yeah.
It is one of the best pieces of cinema that I've ever watched in my entire life. Yeah. Especially with the narration of him. Yeah. And the singing of the guy. Right. It was... Yeah, the guy with the deep throat. It was Roxanne. The tango taking place. The way McGregor's walking, what's happening up in the suite. Like, the way everything's shot and cut together is fucking perfection. It is perfection. It's one of the best cinematography. I can't say it. It's one of the best cinema, I'll say that. It's one of the best cinema moments I've ever seen on screen in my entire life. Yeah. And I wait to watch that movie just for that part. Yeah. Now, people say, the thing with Ewan McGregor and the whole, with her and the singing and the montage on top of the elephant and everything like that. Fantastic. Yeah. I get it. Nothing can... And I've seen plays, everything I've ever seen, nothing can compare to that scene. Yeah. Nothing. There is just... It's unbelievable. It's perfection. Yeah. And the next closest thing is the end of the movie. Yeah. Like, as they're singing the song to each other, like the way it ends, and like him telling her off, and she starts singing the song, and he realizes that's beautiful. Like, I'll start rolling tears right now thinking about it. Yeah. But I mean, that's just but the Tango de Roxanne, like, that is just a masterpiece of a moment in cinematic history. It is. It's just undeniable. Yeah. I mean, it's that good. Yeah. Man, it's that good. Huh. Yeah. I mean, how do you... I remember watching that for the first time, and I was like, I just can't believe what I'm watching. Do you know what I mean? And then I told you about it, and you came over, and we watched it together.
Yeah, I think I came over as you finished it, and you're like, you need to watch this movie with me.
I know.
I'm like, I'm not fucking watching
How
this.
weird is that? Well, I mean, like, it's not a movie that it's
Right.
not like science fiction. It's not up our ballpark.
No.
And not up your ballpark.
No, not at all.
Sure.
No. But you were, like, so sure of it.
I was absolutely
Like,
positive.
It was one of those rare occasions where you're like, I'm going to twist your arm and force you to watch. If you don't want to watch this movie, you can fucking go. But the beer stays. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'll sit and watch this. And I mean, like, it's a weird thing to say. Because that came out and not, like, I like Ewan McGregor. I think at this point we had already seen him as Obi-Wan in the first movie. But I think that's where I fell in love with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Like, that movie was like, oh, shit. Like, I'd seen him in Train Spotting, and I'd seen him in a couple other things, and he was Obi-Wan Kenobi in that first movie. I thought, yeah, he's cool. I dig him. But, I mean, I think that was the movie where I was like, I will watch anything this man does.
It was just so fantastic.
It was. And, I mean, it also, it was like, because of Moulin Rouge, I went back and watched Simply Ballroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I had seen Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Like, his version of Romeo and Juliet, I had seen that. I thought, that was really, really well done. It was and I didn't know who Baz Luhrmann was, though.
Uh-huh.
Like, his name didn't click. I just thought somebody had a great idea of telling this as a modern gangster tale, in a way. It's not quite Romeo Must Die, but it's like,
Right.
This is still like, if you're telling the William Shakespeare story using Shakespeare's dialogue, but doing it in a modern setting. That's a fantastic idea. I applaud you.
Yeah.
That's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
But, like, it wasn't until Moulin Rouge where I was like, who the fuck's this Baz Luhrmann guy?
Yeah, right.
He's the guy who did Romeo and Juliet. I gotta watch the Ballroom movie? Fuck it, okay.
Yeah,
But, like, that's how I was so convinced that it was willing to watch Simply Ballroom because of those two movies.
Right.
Like, and I wouldn't watch a movie about ballroom dancing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so far outside of what I would, like, consider
normal for you. Yeah, you're normal watching.
Yeah, but like, him as a director was so interesting. Like, I thought, well, I have to see this.
Right.
Because I've done that. Like, at that point, I was doing it with Ridley Scott. Like, excuse me. Thelma and Louise is not a movie I would watch.
Right.
But I've watched it multiple times because it's directed by Ridley Scott.
Right.
And I'm watching it, like, going, like, oh, I can see how he did this, or why he framed this, or the lighting. Like, because it's a Ridley Scott movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
But because it was directed by Ridley Scott, it made me willing to go back and watch that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what great directors do. Like, I will watch a movie by a director I have nothing but the utmost respect for that's not in my wheelhouse because they directed it.
Right.
That's the weird thing. But, like, most of the directors I like, they have a wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott really doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he makes all sorts of types of movies, but he wants to visually tell a story.
Yeah.
And so, like, a movie like Thelma and Louise, which isn't like Alien, it's not like Blade Runner, it's not like anything else he had done. Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah. All right. So, one last bit of news as we hop off the Baz Luhrmann bandwagon.
Right.
Apparently, it was announced last week that Marvel is going to have a very big presence at Comic-Con this year.
Okay.
Which, first off, this is to be the first time in a couple of years that people are actually go to Comic-Con.
Right.
The last 2 years has been virtual, and it's been garbage.
Right.
This year they're doing it where you'll actually have a Comic-Con again in San Diego, which is exciting news. But Marvel announced they're going to have a presence there. Nothing about Star Wars. Apparently, DC Entertainment not doing anything at Comic-Con. Probably because nobody wants to talk about the Flash. Probably. We can't. Ezra Miller's an embarrassment. We can't show our faces. Plus, I think with the Warner Discovery merger, I think a lot of that shit is still up in the air with what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think I feel like when Discovery bought Warner, Time Warner, it was one of those deals where they were like, what the fuck is going on over here? This makes no sense.
Right.
So I'm very intrigued to see over the next 5 years what new ownership does with that property.
Right.
You've got certain things you've got in the pipeline you've got to release, including they're still committed to putting it out in the theater, but I could see at some point just being quietly placed on HBO Plus is the Flash movie. As more and more shit comes out about Ezra Miller, they've got to be what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
We are fucked.
It sucks too because I liked him as a Flash.
Yeah. So you've got that conundrum. But I find it interesting that Marvel is going to be showing out at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I think they need to. I think it's a weird thing to say, but I feel with this being a return to normalcy.
Yeah.
And Comic-Con being one of those big returns to normalcy, you need a big pop. You need a big presence, and Comic-Con is that, or Marvel is that big presence.
Right.
When you think of over the past 10, 20 years, some of the big moments in Comic-Con history, the first time the Avengers assembled was at Comic-Con.
Right.
The first time we saw the lineup together, you're oh wow, there they are. That these,
Yeah.
It's shit like that you're okay, here we go. And even Hiddleston came out in full costume as Loki at that Comic-Con and everything. So it's stuff like that you kind of remember major moments. Even when they announced Thor: Love and Thunder a couple years ago, Natalie Portman came out holding Mjolnir.
Yeah.
And that was a big moment. You're oh shit, they're doing Jane Foster Thor. That's fucking awesome. So it was stuff like that you were you remember, and it's Marvel that kind of pushed those moments.
Sure.
So I think for this return to a regular con, having Marvel be front and center is a huge deal. All eyes will be on Comic-Con again.
Right. Yeah.
Where it could have flown under the radar.
Right.
In all honesty, it kind of was until I heard about this Marvel thing. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were doing it. Was it still virtual? With some of these COVID flare-ups and shit that's going on. I thought, is California restricting shit like this still? I had no idea. So to hear this news was big to me, and it drew my attention back to San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, sure.
Do you kind of feel the same way? This is a big splash that they need.
Oh yeah, I think they need it.
Yeah.
I think they need something.
Yeah.
I feel that Comic-Con was tanking.
Yeah.
And I think they need something big to put out there. So
yeah.
It's kind of exciting that they're going to be there because everyone's going to be what the fuck?
Yeah.
What are they going to do now?
Yeah, what are they going to announce?
Yeah, so I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely big news on that front.
Yeah. And I think, again, it's that thing of, I hate saying it's a return to normalcy, but it kind of is. Like it was like one of those things we couldn't do was gather together,
Right.
For something like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, as I'm sure there are people who are like, well, the pandemic's not over, damn it. Well, I mean, I think we're reaching a point where we have to live with COVID like we do with the flu.
Now we do.
Yeah. It's never going away.
No, it's not going to go away. And it also depends. And believe it or not, I think it also depends on the strain.
Yeah.
I think we're at like that strain effect.
Yeah.
What strain is out? Is it livable? Right. Can you survive it? Like in the beginning, that first strain, and even part of that second strain was a bad strain of that.
Yeah.
That COVID. I mean, if the numbers, if it was that transmissible on that first strain,
right,
you're looking at black plague numbers,
right.
But it wasn't that transmissible. I mean,
right.
It was transmissible, but it wasn't like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? As the new ones are, more transmissible, less severe.
Right.
Well, that first strain was a killer.
Yeah.
I mean, just an absolute killer. I mean, killer.
Right.
So I think that's something we have to live with.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as the strains go on, it gets weaker and weaker.
Right.
And it becomes the flu.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Right. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. But like, it's also like, to me, the new normal of like seeing somebody in a grocery store wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just. It's just one of those things where like I don't question it.
Yeah. Why would you?
No.
I mean, like, fucking Tokyo has been doing it for years.
Right, exactly. Where I think 3 years ago, if somebody was wearing a mask in the grocery store, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that, honestly, like, I mean, that would be my honest to God reaction. Now, it's like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, like I said, like, if I feel like I'm sick and I have to go out in public, I'll probably wear a mask now.
Yeah.
And
I find that's, I'm glad it took us a while to get to that point.
Right.
Because, I mean, there was like these anti-mask people that were just like...
Well, there still are.
I know, but not as bad as it was.
Well, I think because I'm willing to bet if you brought back mask mandates, they would still be there. It's just because they're gone, they're not speaking up about it.
Right.
But like, and they're the type of people who would probably sneeze on you and not think twice about it. Just like, Yeah, right. Whereas, like I'm saying, like with me, 3-4 years ago, if I had a cold or if I was sick, I would go out in public. I mean, I would try to like, I wouldn't try to stand next to somebody but I would go out in public. Where now I think if I go out in public, I will at least wear a mask as a courtesy.
Right. It's funny. I went to, and I didn't mention this earlier, but I did go to Idaho.
Yeah.
On Monday. This past Monday. And, we're sitting there watching the show. Ellie was performing there with her dance company. And sitting there watching the show and, getting ready to watch the show. It hadn't started yet. And I was sitting, they have like a little amphitheater there at Ottawa. And there's like there's a couple walls there where you can sit on.
Yeah.
Outside of the stage, to the side.
Right.
I was sitting on that wall and there's like, as I got closer to the show time, there's a lot of people starting to sit on the wall because it's shaded on that wall. There's like 4 trees right there.
Right.
And I had all these kids bumping into me and coughing and sneezing. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to persecute myself and just sit in the sun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of them were masked, even though they were, hacking. And I was like, I'll be damned if I get sick at Idaho.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for me personally, I work in this shit.
Yeah.
I work with COVID patients. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I get something from work, I get it.
Yeah.
But I'll be damned if I get it from fucking some poor ass theme park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that
Yeah.
ain't even right. So
I am not getting sick at Storybook Forest.
no. I'll tell you one thing about Ottawa though. I like Ottawa to the point it's good for kids.
Yeah.
And I rode the Tilt-A-Whirl, and I rode some rides with Ellie. It was kind of cool.
Like the little dippers there.
Yeah, I can't go on that. I'm too big.
Too big.
Too big. But but I did ride the teacups and a couple other rides, and which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
You know, and it's good for kids. I mean, it's a relaxing day, especially Splash Lagoon if they get to go to. That's really nice for kids. Yeah. And there was no lines as usual.
Right.
And it was a Monday.
Yeah.
But what I was really taken aback by were the games and the food.
Yeah.
Like, they wanted like $14.50 for a hot dog and fries.
Good lordy.
And I'm glad, thanks to Jamie. I mean, like, she packed a huge picnic thing with coolers. And that's a nice thing about Ottawa is you can still take that in.
Yeah. You can still do it at Kennywood, too.
Yeah, you can. But, I mean, it's completely worth it.
Yeah.
Because, we had a couple sandwiches, some chips, some desserts, drinks, ice cold drinks,
Yeah.
Their souvenir cup at Ottawa was $34.
Holy fuck.
And that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Those are exact numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy talk.
That's nuts.
That is.
I mean, $14.50 for hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's crazy, too. But, I mean, like, $34 for a souvenir cup.
Yeah. To Ottawa.
Yeah. I can't even tell you what Kennywood's was.
Right.
I can remember back in the day. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old. I mean, I can remember being young and souvenir cups were like $8. You know what I mean? You shell at $8 or $10 and you get free drinks all
yeah.
That was a good deal. You know, it made up for it, But now, $34.
Yeah.
For a plastic cup?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. And the games were outrageous. And that's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, like the fair style games.
I love them.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. The basketball game.
Yeah.
Not as long as Kennywood. Good Lord. But
yeah,
it was pretty far out there. 3 balls for $10.
Holy hell.
They had a dart game there. It wasn't darts. It was a balloon game. You threw beanbags at balloons.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3. You got 6 beanbags for $10. Everything was $10.
That's just nuts.
It was. I was like, this is crazy. Where you throw the ball in the basket.
Yeah.
Which I've mastered that game.
Yeah.
3 balls for $10.
Wow.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Nuts.
I mean, at half that, I'd still be going, wow, that's nuts.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like, we're in a inflation bad here.
Yeah.
And you're charging this much for people?
Yeah.
Of course, I spent $50 on games.
Of course, yeah.
And I dropped a bucket. And, but I thought it was a little ridiculous.
It is, that's ridiculous.
I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
$34 for a fucking suit.
And I'll bet the prices is the same at Kennywood.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because they're owned by the same company.
I was like, that's fucking crazy.
It is. That's crazy talk.
I mean, come on.
This isn't Disney.
Yeah.
It's fucking Kennywood and Idyllwild.
And Idyllwild was like the worst. I mean, it's not the worst. I like Idyllwild, but it's not like it's not Kennywood.
No.
It's not a King's Dominion. It's not Cedar Point.
Yeah.
You should not be charging $34 for fucking cheap ass souvenir cups.
You're a step away from being Conneaut Lake Park.
You're right there.
I mean, in all honesty.
I mean, you have like literally 7 rides.
Yeah. 7 rides. You got Storybook Forest and you got, the pool.
Yeah.
That's what. Like, the real draw is the pull.
Mm-hmm.
Like before Sandcastle existed, that's what people went to Idlewild for, was the fucking pull.
Correct. Crazy prices.
Yeah.
I was like, it's absurd that you're charging this much for people.
Yeah.
It's almost like I almost consider it price gouging.
Yeah.
I was like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
It is.
Anyway, all right, my rant.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Anything you'd like to add to the proceedings there, sir?
No, man, I'm good.
All right. Well, remember there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us.
Hey.
You can send us an email like Thad does, and that email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. We're very, very easy to find. And we are a member of a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search, and you'll find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, I want to thank you, dear listener, for checking us out each and every week. I can't thank you enough for your support. It means so much to us.
It does.
And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.